What are some lessons that you've learned in your career?
Oh, too many to count. Where do I want to go with this? Definitely it's how you talk to people, even if you're messing up. If you're talking to people and you're honest about it, you're owning your mistake and you're seeing how you can fix it. Those are like the top, that's top tier. Most people will forgive anything if you are at least owning it. That's a big one for me. I would say remembering to credit everybody that's involved in a project. Even if you got paid for the project, you know, it's important. It really helps you network because networking is super important in this industry.
YUNKJunk!
Hey everybody, welcome to the official YUNKJunk Podcast, a podcast where we talk to different business owners that are servicing the Manayunk area, just like we are. Today we have Ashley Novak from Glam On Demand. She's here with us now.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. We have been talking because you are relatively new to servicing the Manayunk area, correct?
That's correct.
And we had gotten together and we had talked about the fact that most productions, video productions, our business, don't have makeup, and a lot of them really, really should. What are your thoughts on any video shoot operating without a makeup person?
It's a no-brainer. They have to have hair and makeup. Sure, you look great in the mirror when you leave the house, but the camera is not forgiving. So, you know, we can't always edit video and things like that. So definitely having somebody on set is really helpful to make you look your best and, you know, represent yourself in the way you want to.
Yeah, what's funny is, like, I can't tell you how many times I'm on a shoot and the talent comes in wondering where hair and makeup is. And then I just look at the marketing coordinator and like,
somebody missed that on the checklist.
Yeah. And usually it's I'm of two minds about it. You know, there is raw content that should be created, but then there's promo content that is intentionally should be kind of a little higher end, right? That's not behind the scenes documentary where you want to be glammed up, dolled up.
Yes.
A couple of big things for us is hot spots.
Yes.
In the middle of the forehead. And then also, oh God, do I really look like that when it comes to editing? And I feel like makeup would solve both of those problems.
Most definitely. It also makes them feel good about themselves and you get better content, right? If they think they look great already and they feel their very best on camera kind of thing. So it's always best.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that when you skip, you notice you've skipped it. But also, people should understand that makeup doesn't always mean full face. Yes. And like, people think when they hear makeup, they think wedding, right?
Yes.
And when it's in corporate video world, that's not what we're trying to do.
Right.
So what are some different looks, different styles that you cater to as far as your services?
Yeah, for sure. We do anything from a like no makeup look that people just want to look exactly like themselves, but we want to cover maybe the blemish that popped up overnight or something like that. Or as you mentioned, the shine on their forehead. We can do we have cute little taglines for our stuff. So there's like a tad bit glam, or we have too glam to give a damn. So we can do anything you want.
Too glam to give a damn.
Most definitely.
What's that, like Dolly Parton?
Yeah, it's like the over the top. I really want to look, you know, from 10 miles away. You want to see my makeup kind of thing. So
how long have you been in business?
I've been in the business since 2010. So what is that? I'm like, what is this year? 14 years now.
And how did you come to be in the world? Because I know you operate now as a CEO, right?
Yes.
So as a CEO, are you still hands-on or is it mostly delegated? I know we have actually a team in here with us today.
Yeah, for sure. Who
did not touch me up, by the way.
We did not do Glam Squad today.
Yeah.
I typically do hands off for the most part. We are delegating mostly to the team right now because I still have a day job. So there's that. It limits my time. But I also want to grow our community. So in the makeup world, there's not as much community, and community is really important to me. I also love helping people grow into whatever they're looking to be. So for example, on the team, We have some that really want to do special effects. We have some people that really want to do event makeup, or they want to learn the business side. So, I really try to give them what they're looking for, or try to get them the classes that they want. So it's more than just, doing the makeup on the camera, but also like growing people.
Yeah. And there's so many different avenues for this. We like, our world is similar to theater at times, where sometimes you need theatrical makeup, or sometimes you need straight up special effects makeup.
Yes.
And that is some of the coolest stuff. So we work with Lincoln Mill Haunted House, and their makeup team has done just some unbelievable things with their zombies and characters and ghosts and goblins and ghouls. It is frightening.
So cool.
What a makeup artist can pull off.
For sure.
But for most of your clients, I'm assuming they don't want to look frightening.
That's correct. We get that time of year, right?
Yeah.
Around the Halloween season. But most of the time it's beauty makeup and looking just themselves or a little bit amplified.
What kind of clientele are you working with these days? Because I know it tends to shift over like one's career.
For sure. It does vary. Right now, event makeup is up and running with a vengeance. So weddings or just special occasions, people are finding reasons to go out and do things. So I would say those are our biggest things right now, or photo shoots. We get a lot of photo shoots. And when I say photo shoots, some of them are boudoir, maybe a gift for their soon-to-be husband, or maybe somebody that's been in a relationship for a while. And then we also have a lot of people coming in for just headshots. So going back to kind of your production and things like that. So a lot of headshots. So that's where the industry is right now. But we have a lot of people that just want to look their best for maybe a dinner out. So we have kind of ranges from all kinds of different things.
How does that work? Do they come to you, or do you go to them?
So we have both. So we do have a space, but we also will come to their home. So this is a pretty popular area for it.
Yeah, I have heard of like just someone's going to a party or going out to dinner from Gladwin.
Yes.
And so you just go into one of the mansions and kind of hook them up, right?
Yes, we have that frequently, actually.
How do you get your clients?
So we rely heavily on Google. Google My Business has been where most of our clients say that they find us. Their Instagram or referrals.
I feel like beauty on social media is a thing unto itself.
Yes.
Like, it has absolutely exploded.
Most definitely.
Do you find that there are anyone doing a great job, or do you think it's a lot of people who are doing an okay job but have a large platform?
That's kind of hard. I think that there's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think that my biggest suggestion is always doing their research on state laws. Because there are some things that are surrounding makeup artists that a lot of people don't realize. So you do have to be a licensed cosmetologist or esthetician in the state of Pennsylvania to do makeup, technically.
So a police officer could kick open someone's closet door and say, "Excuse me, do you have a license to practice?"
I don't know that it works quite like that.
I hope it does.
I hope to never find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really sure how that exactly goes down. But, we make sure that all of our people are licensed and stay up with their licensing and, completing education. So I think that when we're talking about social media, we're talking about different states, we're talking about so many different things. So I do hear a lot about your self-taught makeup artists and things like that. But do we have the sanitation? Do we have those other things behind it that are super important too?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where did you learn?
I went to cosmetology school. It's actually funny. Somebody on my team was actually my cosmetology teacher. So now she works with me. Yes.
Student hath become the master.
Exactly. And that's how I learned in the first place. And then I just got a lot of hands-on experience, did a lot of free stuff when I first started. And
as did we.
Yes. And I still do. We still do a lot of trade, just to grow our portfolio and continue to stay better and practice. But yeah, that's how I got started, was just cosmetology school started it all. And then I had partnered with a photographer on senior headshots. And that's where it all started.
That is, man, I haven't even thought of like what my first thing was. I mean, I went to school for film. Yeah. And so we made short films and whatnot. And then I went into TV. So I was working at PBS real young. Yeah. And I guess I could just kind of follow the TV route. But then once you leave, TV, because I had gone on to QVC, which is where we have a mutual friend. What's up, Aaron?
Yep. And, hey, Aaron.
And I remember leaving the safety of television and realizing like, oh my God, I have to do everything, soup to nuts. I'm not just on someone else's set.
Yes.
So that leap can be quite scary because you realize, oh, wait, I don't know that I know how to do this stuff because it was always set up for me.
Yes.
And I was just like a cog in the wheel.
Yep.
But eventually you have to get past that. When you started, did you work on someone else's team first and then venture out on your own? Or were you just like, I'm going?
Nope. I just dove right head in and definitely learned as I go. Made all the mistakes along the way.
Good.
But you learn from them very quickly and course correct. When I first moved to this area, because I moved here about 10 years ago now, and I worked on another team for a little while just to like get acclimated in the area. At that time, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to jump back in like full-fledged, like, do we want to build the team here, so on. But then sure enough, we did. Probably lasted a good year. And then I was like, I need my control back again.
So let's talk about your journey as an entrepreneur.
For sure.
So you said you dove right in, started as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And then going from one-man band, as we call it in my world, to a CEO with a team, that's quite a jump.
Oh yeah.
Which do you prefer?
I definitely love having the team aspect.
Yeah.
Going back to kind of just like my passion behind, helping other people get where they want to be in the industry, drives that a lot for me. And it also does take things off my plate. I've started to learn to delegate and learn, to give some of that control over to other people.
It's a super hard thing.
Yeah.
Is delegating. And what nobody talks about, but I talk about a lot, is you will delegate and they will fail and it will affect you negatively.
Most definitely.
Like it's just part of it. You have to, and that's so hard to stomach and accept.
Yes.
Is that someone's going to get an F. You should be, as you grow as a CEO, the only way to do, and everyone says this in every book you ever read, is like you have to let people make the mistakes so that they can grow into what they are. But what they don't say is some people just will keep making mistakes.
Yes.
And you have to figure out a way to keep cool, keep your composure, and keep yourself in check, because it's like, if I was there, you know what I'm
just
saying?
did it myself. Yeah.
So how do you deal with that as someone who practices the craft and now has a crew that practices it while you do, the sales and the CEO stuff?
For sure. Like you said, it's an inner struggle. It's definitely something that you just have to fight to get through. Therapy is a great tool. And then also, but also really just remembering that I was there at one point. I made those mistakes. I had to learn from it. I need to just let them learn their lessons as they go. I tend to think that I'm pretty compassionate and like to give people, the benefit of the doubt and chances and things like that. So hopefully I do. And hopefully they learn from them and it makes them a better entrepreneur in the long run. So.
Oh, interesting. So you are encouraging kind of working with other independent contractors and whatnot and boosting their business along with your own?
Yes and no. I do want them to do whatever they want to do. So I know that it's just part of the beast where like they may end up leaving at some point to do their own thing. And that's okay. I want them to do whatever they want to do in life. I don't think you should ever try to control someone to stay with you forever. But I want to promote an environment that they want to stay to. So kind of like where it's at.
I think we do too. And I know we do too. For us, we've gone through some change and things like that where people have come and people have gone on to do their own things. And usually, sometimes it's great and sometimes it's a little tougher because, you build things around people. That's kind of the idea of the better and better they get and the more valuable they are, when someone like that moves on, it's a big shift of mindset and resources and can even get in your head of, well, shoot, do I want to do this again? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
The answer is that is the nature of the beast because you can't do as much by yourself. It's not possible. And a lot of times what happens is, people go their own way and realize, oh, shoot, this is not what I thought it was.
Yes.
Because on paper, for video guys, on paper, it is kind of nice. It would be nice if you could sell something for $3,000 to $5,000 and have 2 weeks where that's just what you work on and then do the next one the next week. But anybody who's been in business knows that's not what happens.
Not at all.
The problem is you sell that one and then 3 other ones in the same week and then you're scrambling and have to figure out what to do. And then you have to build the resources, you know? So it's just the nature of what we do. It's the nature of the business of like, you know, we're in the same thing of like jobs come.
Yeah.
You want to say yes. And, you know, it's popular on YouTube to say, you got to learn to say no. You'll be out of business, dude.
Right.
You can say no maybe 10 years down the road, but in your first opening 2 years, something like that, there's not a chance.
Nope.
You got to do everything and you got to build up your credentials.
For sure.
And then you got to build up your workforce and team so they can handle it.
And we pivot like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like we, you know, artists, for us, they show up, they do the job, they leave. They don't do any of the back end things. We handle that for them. They literally just have to come in, do their craft and walk out the door and get paid. And so they think that it's that easy. But then as soon as, like you said, they walk out the door, they do their own thing. And then they're like, hey, so I think I want to come back now. I'm like, sure. You know, so we do welcome back people at times because it's not what they thought.
Well, it's also nothing personal. I mean,
Not
I get
at all.
it. Like I jumped too. You know, it's one thing to jump and be in the same market. It's another thing to jump and really go and stretch and do your own things or jump into a different industry. You know, like I've had on my team, like ever since the beginning, because we're in Philadelphia, people will say, I want to try LA. I want to try New York. Yeah. And that always happens. That happens where like, okay, I've got a skill set. I'm going to go now. And then they try and apply it there. But you know, as we all know, who have worked out there, it's not as it's really hard to move up out there. Like it's better to get kind of your base and really hone your skills in a market that's not the big two.
Yes.
And the big two's kind of drying up. Do you work in there at all?
A little bit, not as much. I personally don't like to take the travel, and there's so many things that can happen, as you know, with the travel. So we tend to avoid it if possible, but we do have a couple clients right outside the city, like New York City, that we'll take on occasion. Yeah. But just, we try to maybe outsource for that or, you know, give it to a different artist that we know in the city. What's your
kind of CEO style? How do you run a company?
Ooh, give me an example.
Sure. So, for us, we really kind of try and specialize in a couple of things. You know, probably, I would say we have three main areas of business, like this one being one of them, in that we just kind of went all in on this video podcast world because it's hot. We know how to do it. And we all come from a TV background. So it applies to this. And honestly, it's the best way to generate a shitload of content, quickly. Out of this conversation, you'll have a bunch of shorts that you can create. Yeah. So hardcore believe in this. We're big in medical. Medical's like our number one. And then we have a kind of like luxury lifestyle that we kind of fit in. And then I guess there's a fourth one, which is kind of HR driven media, where we're trying to highlight individuals who normally would not get press or anything like that. So, we might, when we work with medical, it might be like, let us do a video about a medical assistant, which, is kind of like the entry level. And it's like, let us do a video about this person and let everybody see it. And then you have like this person being recognized by a CEO that they'll never interact with. And all of a sudden CEO sees that and says, wow, that's amazing. I'm so happy we have employees like this. And it just warms your heart. So that's probably our big four. Okay. That's kind of what I mean is like,
or like niching.
We try and niche for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say we specialize in a few different things. The biggest is bridal, so wedding, event makeup, and then we also do all those photo shoots that we talked about. Those are typically our top. We do have a handful of commercial gigs that we still do.
What does that mean, commercial gigs?
More like production, like you were saying, with video production.
Like
yeah, Your World. Those are one of our favorites. It's just, as you know, like a harder thing. They're not putting in the budgets anymore, things like that, or they're trying to not pay us the day rates that, we've proposed to them. So
I think it's just that everything really changed because like you couldn't get a commercial done for $5,000 back in the day. It was 20, and a lot of that was the gear was so expensive, and it was so hard to make things, but 10 years ago, the whole world changed and it democratized. But certainly there was a time where you couldn't get something done without a camera that cost $50,000, $100,000, just to make a piece of content. Yes. Let alone you had to pay to get it to air it somewhere. So I think when everything got brought down, like it became a cheaper product. for people. So, it's kind of like, what can I sacrifice? A lot of men will kind of say, well, I don't think we need hair and makeup because I have no hair. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But what do you have to say to that? Because a lot of dudes want to look good now.
It's very accurate. More and more men are getting event makeup. So
Really?
So we actually have like a male presenting section of our pricing structure, so that if it's the groom or any of the groomsmen, they tend to want makeup now. So we are adding them to the service list.
Interesting thing you said, male presenting.
Yes.
So that makes a lot of sense to me in that, you have male presenting and female presenting now. Both would have much, much different needs. So is there like a retraining, or is it all kind of the same, whether you're going for a more masculine look or a more feminine look?
There's definitely more involved with a feminine look versus a masculine look, but the concepts are the same. So the color correction is the same, things like that. But maybe like for you have a beard. So me working around a beard with foundation is a completely different situation, as your hair texture and the skin are not, I'm not getting to the skin, I'm getting hair first. So you're going to see that foundation laying on the surface. So there's definitely different techniques that are involved for male presenting, for sure.
Interesting. So, how should I be wearing makeup?
So,
can I be glammed on demand?
I'm going to answer and say yes, only because I believe that everybody should look their very best on camera. We all have breakouts. We all have, skin issues that can pop up. So to look your very best, I think yes.
What is color correction? Because in my world, we have color correction. What is color correction in your world?
So color correction in our world would be if somebody has, deep set eyes where they're getting like the bags underneath, it's getting a shadow.
You're looking right at me as you're describing these.
Well, I'm looking at you because that's who I'm looking at during the conversation. But no, we have people that really have like a darker under eye. It can come from so many different things: lack of sleep, lack of hydration, all these different reasons that can be. It can be hereditary. So there could be just nothing you can do about it. So ultimately, we will color correct the pigment and change the skin color so that it doesn't look different. It doesn't look such a difference on camera.
How much better can one look when dealing with a hangover if they implore a makeup artist?
Well, that's difficult because they're super dehydrated, which means the skin is super dehydrated, which is going to change the look of the makeup. We can do a lot of skin prep. So we could potentially do, a quick mini peel. We can do a hydration set. We can do skin prep, which will help with that. But you can look better. We'll say 50% better. I can't fix the internal part.
Yeah, but literally on the outside, you might be yellow.
Yes.
You might have the under eyes. That's a big thing.
Yes.
How are we dealing with under eyes outside of like, we work with a lot of plastic surgeons, so it's all bleft and eye lifts and filler and things like that. What can we do in the makeup world?
In the makeup world, so first is skincare. Skincare is the most important part. Yeah, people don't think about that part. They got to take care of their skin. And then the makeup's going to lay a lot better. So that color correction, the foundation, you can do a little concealer, things like that.
What is the Glam On Demand skincare regimen that we should be following?
So if you are like, I'm not doing a skincare regimen, I have 5 minutes in the morning. Okay, great. We're going to do at least a cleanser. So we're going to cleanse all the dirt, sweat, and oil off the skin. We're going to use some kind of toner. So you're bringing that pH back down to normal, and then a moisturizer. Those are my 3 that I would say that people absolutely need.
A toner.
A toner.
I always had heard cleanse and moisturize.
Okay, if you're going bare minimum, I'll let you slide with that. But
I could be doing more.
But you could do at least one more step. Just add one more for now, and then we'll talk about the other things later.
What about sun exposure? Good, bad?
Totally bad. But SPF every day for sure. If that's if you can only do the 3 steps, definitely SPF. But you can get one in your moisturizer too. So, but sun is bad for you.
Sun is bad.
Yeah.
What are some lessons that you've learned in your career?
Oh, too many to count. Where do I want to go with this? Definitely it's how you talk to people. Even if you're messing up, If you're talking to people and you're honest about it, you're owning your mistake and you're seeing how you can fix it, those are like the top, that's top tier. Most people will forgive anything if you are at least owning it. That's a big one for me. I would say remembering to credit everybody that's involved in a project. Even if you got paid for the project, you know, it's important. It really helps you network because networking is super important in this industry. And let me think third. Yeah, never burn a bridge for sure. I think that would probably be my third.
Yeah, for us, it's interesting because, you know, some deals that I have is like, I can't say that I'm the one who did the video because, you know, the entity did the video, right? Or, you know, if we work with an agency or something like that, the agency did it. So a lot of times we're kind of in secret with who we're working with and what we're doing and what projects I can like legally share as my own. So that gets kind of tricky in some places, which is why it's important to be front facing and have conversations like this.
Yeah.
Are you sales oriented or does it kind of just come to you? Oh, you're sales oriented.
Oh, well, I'm just a salesman anyway. Okay. So just every job that I've had in my life has been sales based. So
do you enjoy it?
I do.
Me too.
Yeah.
What, you know, I don't want to say methods or routines or anything like that, but what's kind of your strategy for, let's say for booking more sales appointments? So just sales calls.
For sure.
What's your approach to that?
Going back to my second thing about networking, networking is a big thing. I definitely build strong relationships and a lot of that is done for me. So that's part of that sales strategy. The other way is really learning why somebody's coming to you. You know, why did you pick us over someone else? Because there's value in that and whatever that value is for them will tell you a lot about how to sell to them as well.
Yeah. I think, especially when you're in the big leagues, like those are always multi-tiered sales, right? And it's not going to come from a cold call or something like that. It's going to come from someone who trusts you, who is willing to trust you with their client.
Yes.
You know, because for our world, I mean, I love it when it's just a direct relationship between me and end client, but a lot of times there's someone in between.
Correct.
And so having the relationships with those people, you know, even like us, like, you know, you might come across someone who needs video. I might come across someone who needs makeup for sure. But having the relationships between each other is kind of the only way to do it. Like, I don't know. I just can't imagine a world where, okay, this client is paying $100,000 for this. I'm going to pick a stranger to help me with this.
No.
Yeah. So like 90% of it for me is just build your relationships. Build your relationships. And also I'm a big fan of like the give.
Yes.
You know, of just keep giving. Eventually it'll come back around.
Let me make a comment too about networking and that it's not a take situation to your point. It's give, like, what can I do for you? Not all what you can do for me. I think people forget that. And then the nurture part. Just because we met, just because we had a conversation does not mean now that's the only way to do this. We have to nurture that relationship too. Meet up periodically, maybe send a card for a birthday. It can be little things or even just, you know, comment on Instagram sometimes or things like that. But people really forget the nurture part.
Well, it's probably even more important when, you know, you're not in the field.
Yes.
You know, when you're not in the field, really it's someone's there representing you. So I want to talk to you about that.
Yes.
But also, you're now 2 away. So really the relationship is built with the staff member who's out there and the client, and you're kind of back here.
Yes.
So how do you maintain your relationships even though you're not physically servicing?
For sure. That can be challenging. I would say, I'm going to just make an example. We do connect with a lot of photographers. I'm very much nurturing the relationship on the back end. They're showing up, they're doing the job and leaving, and they are representing me. So I do need to make sure that they have certain skills, interpersonal skills, and of course, skills for the client. But when it comes to just the client and one of our artists, it's harder because that person's really genuinely connecting with that artist, and all the communication they had with me is just the billing part on the back end or a contract or things like that. That can be a bit more challenging. And with us personally, we do ask our contractors that everything stays, you know, in-house. If this was a client that we found you, they stay in-house. If they want to request you, we will gladly give them to you again, but we just try to manage it in that way.
Yeah, and I think that's really all you can do, because ultimately clients can do whatever they want, and independent contractors can do whatever they want.
Agreed.
But obviously what you want to do is you want to kind of, in my opinion, you want to be like, hey, it's easier to run it through this system because you'll just get to focus on the thing you love to do.
Yep.
I'll take care of the headaches. You know, I have things where certain editors will never interface with a client ever, so that they can just keep grinding. That's kind of one of my philosophies, is that it's not mine. I read it and then I have absorbed it. But the idea is that being great at something will always be trumped at someone who has discipline and frequency, right? Frequency and discipline is always going to get you further than someone who's just like a wunderkind.
Yep.
You know, because you're the person who keeps showing up every day. You never get stale. You just keep showing up, and going through the motions is like a negative way to say it, but going through the motions is what needs to be done in order to kind of succeed. Like, whether, you know, I write a proposal every day.
Yes. Every
single day. I know I have to write a proposal. I usually do it at noon and send it to someone, because that's the craft, you know, of writing it and sending it out. And not all of them are going to hit, but then they do.
Yes.
Then one does. Or another client is similar, and I can take the one I already wrote and adjust it and get faster at it too.
Yes.
But that's just kind of like one of my little sales things that's kind of just for me, because it's not marketing. It's directly sales based, and I'm sending it directly to someone. But also I'm keeping my arrow quiver full for other entities, other businesses that are similar.
Yeah.
Right. So, what is something that you do every single day? Business related.
Business related. So we do have a client management system, similarly to your proposals, I'm guessing, in which we have to send them out consistently, make sure we're getting paid for invoices, things like that.
Yeah.
Technology has made life way better than back in the day when I first started and had to write everything out by hand. Don't miss that at all. But I would say our client management system, we go into it every day. We text anybody, because that's a separate entity. Unfortunately, we need a new program. So if you know any, let me know. But we do text them and, you know, send out reminders and things like that. So we just check on every single person every single day leading up to their event.
And then how do you maintain your staff?
In what way?
Do you check on them every single day?
We check in. We have a group chat.
Okay.
So if we're not, if we're not, you know, talking individually, I might drop them like a really cool reel that I saw that would be relevant to, you know, maybe a hairstyle or some kind of makeup technique, or we're really into kit condensing so that we have one backpack instead of 10, you know, things like that. So we stay in contact via the group chat.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, because based on someone's personality, do they need to be their handheld the whole time, or do they just want to go off and do their own thing? And I think some of the biggest mistakes I've made as a leader is not recognizing which one they are, you know, because you're hands-off guys. It might not feel like buddy. It might not feel like they're your best friend, but they're the one you want in a foxhole because they can handle everything. They don't need you.
Yes.
You know, and that's it's difficult on a personal level, but it's great on a business level.
Yes.
But I think the most important thing is recognizing what type of employee do you have, or what type of subcontractor are you working with, and play to their strengths. Like, all that we're trying to do is, you know, give them a layup.
Yes.
Right. Do you think it's better to be the number one in assists versus the number one scorer? Because I really do.
Yeah, honestly, that's how we run, like, consistently. I try to find self-starters, people that can kind of handle things on their own, and, you know, with grace too. So I think that's the way I like to lead.
So why should we work with you?
I love to make it, like, I call it the Glam Fam, but I like to make it, you know, everything cutesy. But I love to just have like more of like a family oriented, and again, community, because we are so independent and don't always get to work together. Rarely do we work together on a project. So I really like to bring together like that community piece. That's really important to me, and continuing education, because that's also something really important to me.
It's really funny that you said that, because I think the dream for employee and employers alike is this is going to be great when we're all in the same place at the same time working together. And then you realize that doesn't happen very often. It's not realistic, I suppose. Just because and maybe it's technology that has done this, certainly in our world, of you can do more by yourself now than ever before. And the big thing is eventually you're going to have two things on the same day.
Yes.
You're not growing if you don't. And then that becomes the norm. And then you just kind of you miss your crew. You miss seeing people every day. It's like, oh shit, we were a great 3-man team. It is easier as a 3-man team, but we have to switch to a 2. We got to be 2 2s instead of a 3. So we've recently kind of reset a little bit our model. So we have our one-man band guy. We have our podcast producer, Dylan, who's in a whole other room and sometimes building by himself. And then there's the 3 of us on the content side. And then we have a whole remote department too in editing. So it's 3 different things. But the truth is it should be 4. I should also be operating outside of the 1. But, when things change, you always get back under the hood and take the driver's seat for a little while.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Exactly. But I know, I'm going to be sad when that day comes when they kick me out of production again.
Yeah.
And say, go handle the business.
And you're by yourself.
Yeah, I'm by myself again.
Yeah.
I like Glam Fam.
Yeah.
That is clever.
Yeah.
That is clever. Where do you find, where are most people contacting you from? Website? Usually
website, Google, Instagram. Those are our top 3. And then I do a lot of self-promotion on Facebook groups and things like that.
What are you kind of looking for right now? Are you looking to expand? Are looking to grow or?
So we're potentially going to grow into some other services that we've never offered before, but I'm not really talking about it too much yet, but it's potentially in the works and maybe do that. We do need to expand the team a little bit just for availability's sake. And yeah, we just recently got a social media intern so that I can take that off my plate because as you know, it's a whole full-time job in itself. So I think we're just doing little small expansions like that and seeing how it goes from there.
Yeah. Social media. The whole thing is different. YUNKJunk was kind of created out of, we need to make an insane amount of content. How do we start, how do we do that? And how do we show other people that we can do it? And we, become very successful at it. But yeah, this is also going to need to expand very soon because the amount of touches people are kind of expecting, it's not 1 a day.
No.
It's 4 to 6 as just a standard.
For sure.
And that's across multiple platforms too. So it's getting to a point where, your big marketing muscle is how many posts can you get out there?
Yeah.
Which is great for us. We love that, but you got to train somebody up to kind of be able to do it. And then you get one person that's really, really good and you just follow the method of, okay, we're super busy. Got to bring in the next person. And then it's going to happen again and again and again. But that's why we all do it. It's because we want these large teams where we're able to service every client. Yeah. And for me, when we do a video, I got to do an interview that can be sometimes pretty intimate, but not as intimate as what you guys do.
Yes. How
do you guys connect with clients and on what level?
For sure. It's different for every person. And we let the client kind of lead that. If the client wants to go super deep, we let them go super deep. But I think that's all in the world of cosmetology in general is, we're their therapist a lot of the time. Yeah. We're the safe person because we don't know anybody they know. So ultimately we're the judge-free zone.
A good point.
So it's like a therapist, right? You can tell them anything. They're not going to tell anybody. So it's kind of a very similar dynamic sometimes.
Yeah. And honestly, makeup is not just the face.
For sure. It's how they feel about themselves, even how they feel about themselves when they're done. We have people burst into tears after getting makeup done. We touch it up clearly. But,
yeah, I'm like, wouldn't that ruin it?
It does sometimes, but they really, it really does connect with them on such a deep level. It's all about how they feel about themselves.
So let's talk about you.
Okay.
Who are you?
Who am I? What a broad question.
Yeah.
Narrow it down for me.
Sure. So, before you went the route of makeup, what were you doing?
So I've always been in the world of cosmetics for years now. I actually currently still have a day job, as I mentioned. I am a corporate account manager for a cosmetic company. So, yeah, that's what I do.
That doesn't make sense. How do you have time for this?
I don't. I don't. Hence why I have a team that literally is the glue that holds me together. But yeah, my day job is pretty flexible. We go into bigger retailers and train them how to use our brand. We actually do services in some of those retailers. So we're teaching them how to do that as well. But it also marries my love of that management and that coaching and that getting them to where they want to go. So it's something that I get to, flex that muscle every single day. I also really love the autonomy of the job. So my boss is in New York City. She's not in my backyard. So she knows I know how to do my job and lets me do it. And so I can get it done when I need to get it done, kind of thing. So it's very flexible in that regard. So it's not like I'm stuck in an office 9 to 5, I would hate that.
Why did you take on a whole second career?
Yeah. So I actually had Glam On Demand prior to this job.
Okay.
And before that, I actually worked nationally as an educator for a cosmetic company too. I've just been in cosmetics for ever. But to get real deep on your podcast here, I do have lupus. So I need health insurance, good health insurance. And sure, you can buy it yourself when you're self-employed, but it's expensive. So ultimately, the benefits are great. The company is great. As long as it has the flexibility that I need, it's kind of one of those things that I don't mind having both. Plus, it gives me a steady salary that I can continue to fund my dream with Glam On Demand.
So how do you structure your day?
Ooh. So I also am ADHD. So structure is not really always attainable, but I do try to keep myself very color blocked in my calendar. I do the blocking system where this 2 hours I do this 2 hours I do that. It does get moved around a little bit. If my brain's not quite firing the way I need it to, we move it around. But yeah, I just try to make sure it all gets done in that same day.
So that's funny. This is going to be, that's my number one question on the show.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are block scheduling.
Yes.
Myself included. I do it a little bit differently because basically my main goal, if I can, and it's probably good for everybody else who works for me, if I can stay out of the way until noon, it's actually good for both of us because I still, I'm a creative, so I still have to generate some sort of creative content. A lot of that is written now. I used to do an Instagram reel every morning or something like that. But now I'm spending more time writing things that then go into, the website and stuff like that. But I know if I do not do it right when I wake up, technically right after the morning walk I do to generate ideas, it will not happen that day because my day will get taken over, in the afternoon. So I kind of have to treat it as a previous guest said, you gotta, what do you say? Eat the frog?
Eat the frog. That's what I say all the time.
I've never heard of this.
I think it was in a book. I think I read it or it was in a management class or something. Yeah.
But that's huge. That's huge. I said, I have to lick the toad before I eat the frog.
Yeah. It's actually hilarious because that's exactly what I do. Mine's a little different than yours, but my brain is the most productive first thing in the morning. Yep. So from 7 a.m. to about 11, I am doing whatever needed to actually get done that day before my brain decides what's getting done the rest of the day.
That's so funny. It's kind of like all of us really should think about the world in terms of I can do 365 things a year. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
And work backwards from there. What should most of those be?
What's the priority?
Now I've already broken my own rule because basically I'm saying, my new rule is I need to create a piece of content every day in the morning and I need to write a proposal midday. If I am consistent on those two things, the business will be fine because our team is very talented and I believe in them and I'm their number one cheerleader. And a lot of it is just figuring out Terry's system. And Terry's system is based on systems that I've developed, but I'm not going to sit here and say I invented them. Mm-hmm. No, I just know okay, this system work really well. Our business, that's our foundation. Yes. So if you do this, this, and this, then you'll be okay. And there's only so many times I need to say that, right? And then it just starts happening. And then because I'm like you, I'm put me out in the world. Let me go sell. Yeah. Let me talk about how great this team is and what they can do for you. And also let me think about what I want to say in the morning. It's just crazy that you have to remove yourself from your own business in order to get anything done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
It's totally true. It's totally true.
How do you trust your people?
You have to just do it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's like no other way to say it except you just have to do it and hope for the best. And like we said earlier, you know, let them make the mistakes and then figure it out from there.
What's your favorite thing to do?
Ooh.
You know, let me be more specific. What's your favorite thing to do, like, as far as makeup's concerned?
As far as makeup's concerned, I love production work. So I love a commercial set. I love that. That's my passion.
Yeah.
I could do that every day.
I mean, it is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun. Isn't it funny that a lot of commercial work, like the super high-end stuff, typically I'm sitting in a director's chair or a producer's chair. But when I was a camera guy and stuff like that, there's a lot of just waiting around and talking to the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
And like the hang that is kind of on a commercial is always a lot of fun. So when they do pop up, you know, it's, you know, if I'm directing, I'm never stopping. I never sit down. I don't eat. But I distinctly remember how much fun it was to just like be one of the camera guys talking to the makeup girl, and you know, we're having a cup of coffee with one of the grips who's kind of walking by, and then you're talking to the actor too, and just having those little moments with each other was always just so fun.
I would agree. I think we're probably the same personally that way.
Yeah.
It's just like the camaraderie that you're building with other people.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite part. And movie sets, not so much. Like I would love just like one day shoots are great for me. I don't necessarily want to be stuck on a movie set for 3 months at a time or anything like that. But
I can't. I mean, I just couldn't imagine. Well, that's what the budget is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like writing up for me. I think of it like if I'm away on a shoot for 30 days, that's taking away my ability to generate for 30 days because I'm on one thing.
Yes,
that's tough.
That's
Some
too
people
much.
can do it, but in the back of my head, it would be like, okay, when I get off this movie, I'm in trouble because I wasn't there to service clients for 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someday.
That's too much.
Are you early morning makeup or late night makeup?
Early morning.
How early?
My alarm
Indian
is
wedding.
3
a.m., right?
Those are hard. Those are too hard for me because I have a hard time going to bed too early too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just like the 8 a.m.s are good. The 8 a.m.s are good because I'm like up like 6:30 without an alarm. So, you know, I need about an hour to like get awake, get coffee, you know, do all the things and then casually get there. Yeah.
As I get older, like 8:30 bedtime is just speaking to me more and more. I could do it. I could do it right now.
I can't. I'm like a 10, 11.
See, I love like show business and stuff like that in the late nights, but I could never do it.
No.
Why can't we move that back? Why can't we? Why can't I go see a stand-up show at 4 p.m.?
Right.
I'm asking you. Tell me why.
I mean, I don't know. I don't make the schedule because I would totally do it with you.
Why?
Because you know they're watching these things later.
This is the future of all of it. Is like take all the comedians that we loved. You know, I'm in my 30s, so the kids aren't watching these people anymore, and put them at like give them 4 o'clock or matinees.
Yeah.
Like let me watch a comedian like a matinee show. Let me watch Dane Cook at 2 p.m.
Yep.
You know,
it's so funny that I'm 40. So like, I totally feel you on that. But you said the kids.
Well, the kids.
I feel like I keep sounding like that too.
Yeah. I mean, I always think it's funny. Anybody who says like the YouTube or like the kids are watching this on the thing.
Yeah.
If you get to the blank is on the blank, it's over.
For sure.
It's over. But I'm glad it's over. I didn't like it back then.
Yeah,
I like it more like this.
Agreed.
I want to go to bed at 8:30 and I want to have podcasts in the middle of the day.
Agreed.
So from a business standpoint, what would you like to share with our audience? We're mostly entrepreneurs and you know, Manayunk folk.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, totally blanking. I feel like we went through a lot.
Yeah, we did.
So
that's the point.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like we already covered most of what I would tell anyone. Just remember us, you know, next time you or anybody else needs, you know, to feel pampered in the moment, and we'll come to you.
I actually really like something I didn't even know. I was never thinking you could just have one of the artists come, like if it's just a dinner.
Oh yeah.
I always think like big event. I have this thing where I don't like big events because in my head I build it up as the most fun thing ever. And it is, but I'll always overdo it at like a big event. I should get Glam On Demand for just like going to watch a football game with some friends.
Yeah.
And I'll just show up and look better than all of my friends.
Yeah. But you would though, because in my mind, as soon as you said football game, I'm thinking about like the stripes they put on.
Yeah.
They would look literally perfect. We would like make sure that they were like symmetrical, like the whole nine.
This is a thing. Dylan, do you want to get makeup before doing podcasts in the future? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All of our
We're
behind
down.
the scenes will just be like these glamour shots, headphones on, looking at things.
Yeah. False
We should do
lashes.
that.
I'm just kidding.
That would just be hilarious to be on a shoot and have a makeup artist, but it's not a makeup artist for the people that you're shooting. It's for the crew
Yeah.
to look good in behind the scenes content.
Hey.
That's a business.
Hey, we need to add it to the service list.
100%. Let's get on that.
It sounds like a missed market, missed
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the official YUNKJunk
you for having
Podcast. Everybody, this is Ashley Novak from Glam On Demand. She is the CEO, and she has a huge whole team that is wonderful to work with. One of my personal friends is one of the team members, but she's here. She's servicing Manayunk. So if you just want to go to dinner and look better than the person across from you, Glam On Demand.
Glam On Demand. Thank you.
See you, everybody.
YUNKJunk!